today's podcast will be about travel. Welcome back. So everyone is indoors right now. So because of this COVID-19, or as you know, the coronavirus, everyone are staying indoors, and because of social distancing, quarantine, and so on. So I'm not going to talk about that. I'm here because to make a podcast. So everyone right now, I can see most of them are going live, and also most of them are also doing a podcast. So why not I do a podcast now? So right now I do not have a complete setup. Until I have a complete setup, I'll be vlogging here and there, most probably outdoors on my terrace right now. There's also this I'm converting this place into a studio where film stuff, do some craft, or do some activities right here. So let's get into the podcast. This is a podcast episode number 1. So what I'm gonna talk about today in this podcast is about travel. Okay, why I'm talking about travel is because I know everyone is indoor right now. I'm not sure how long this quarantine or social distancing gonna be, when we are gonna travel next. But let's talk about travel because there are travelers I've seen a lot of travelers who were traveling very frequently last year. Even I have traveled many places in and around India. I feel lucky that I've done that last year. In 2019, I have traveled I've gone through northern side of India as well as the southern side of India, east and west as well. So all the corners, few of the popular places I've been, and I feel good that I've done in 2019 because 2020 at the starting I got to travel only few places, but then nothing much happened this year. And right now it's the summer season. Things are extremely it's really hot. So I prefer cold weather. I prefer cool weather. So at this time I would have traveled to somewhere cooler or colder. I got few DMs asking me about the travels and about places where I stay and how I travel. So one of the popular DMs and comments which I got was Zostel. About Zostel. What is Zostel? Let me put in a simple term. Zostel is a hostel. So when I say hostel, people usually think about their college life. Oh, maybe it's a college-like thing, like a dormitory and all. So it's not exactly like that, but somewhat you can relate to that. So this hostels, those who don't know about travel culture of hostels. So hostels, they do have dormitories, same as your hostel rooms in colleges. They have dormitories. What makes them different is these are meant for travelers. That's a major difference. And when it comes to Zostel, Zostel is a brand which has a number of hostels all over India. So I last year, I have taken a mission to visit all the Zostels in India. So far I've finished almost 8 to 9 of 10, maybe around 10 Zostels so far. There are around 36 or 38 Zostels. So not sure when I'm going to get to visit all of them. Maybe soon I'll be visiting that. So how does a Zostel look like? So if you're curious to know how a Zostel looks like, I have a separate series which is about Zostel, what's inside Zostel. So maybe I'll link that in the comments down in the description down below, or you can click on the side button. So most of the time I'll forget to put the side button, so do go down in the description below and do check out the video. And those are watching this, those are listening to this audio in other app like podcast app, there may not be a description option. What you can do is you can go to any of my social media channels, get into my YouTube, go to my YouTube playlist, and in the playlist there's a playlist called about Inside Zostel. So you can check it out. So that has different Zostels. So what I do in that series is basically I go to Zostel, I film the Zostel from outside and indoor. I show you what's inside the Zostel, so you can check it out, the Zostel. Why I choose to stay in a Zostel rather than staying in a hotel. Why Zostel rather than a hotel is because in a hotel or a stay, you just stay in a single room. It's kind of boring, and if you're traveling solo, maybe one or two people, so you kind of feel bored. Unless you want a privacy, you want a room, or you want a closed enclosure. Most of introvert persons, you could prefer hotel. But if you're extrovert, or if you would love to meet a new, lot of people, on Zostel you get to meet people who are Indians as well as abroad. So you get to listen to their stories. You will get opportunity to share your stories. Even if you're traveling in India, there's a lot of things you can see. When it comes to food, there are a lot of cuisines you can try, a lot of things, a lot of street food. If you're a traveler, there's a difference between a traveler and a tourist. So if what's the major difference is a traveler does all the homework by himself, how to travel, when to travel, everything, and he travels. And what a tourist is, tourists are most probably relying on a tourism agency, where a lot of homework, a lot of ticketing, a lot of planning, a lot of itinerary is done by the tourism agency. So if you want to be very comfort, want to plan all your trips to be pre-planned, then you need to get through an agency. But if not, if you like to plan your own travels, then I would prefer you going for planning your own travel and be a traveler. Wait a minute, I may be seeing that side because there are a lot of birds here. It's kind of getting distracted, but there are beautiful birds around. Maybe I'll I put this bird story in my Instagram, so if you're curious to know, you can just go to my Instagram. And there's a bird which is actually playing on the water. There's a pond which I made for the birds to drink water, so the bird is having a bath there. Coming back to what's travel and tourist, so you got to point what is the difference between a tourist and a traveler. So if you're a traveler, you plan on most of things. So you get to planning is actually a tough thing actually, but you learn a lot of things. When you plan your itinerary, you have to do a research about, okay, should I take a bus, plane, or train? How do I travel? So I take most probably public transport. All of transportations are public transportations. And what I do is, if I'm traveling by bus, I don't book tickets in advance. If it's a long journey, I book. If it's not, I go to the bus station, check out which bus is up next, so I take that bus. Booking tickets on a train, you need to book in advance 1 month earlier, because of you don't get tickets in trains because it's a limited tickets, a lot of problems. And this is if you're traveling in night and if you're going for a long journey. If you're traveling for a short distance and during the day, I would prefer going to the station, checking which train is up, booking a general ticket rather than booking in advance. The reason is because general tickets are cheaper, and second thing is it's a short distance and day, so most probably you get a seat and you can travel comfortably. But when I say this, if you're traveling weekend, this can become little tough. So if you're traveling weekdays, you wouldn't have any problems, but if you're traveling on weekends, you have a lot of problems. So what I do is, most of my travel happens during the weekdays. And if I'm trekking or if I'm going for a hike, that happens on weekends, because I reach the place around on Fridays. I reach to a place where I want to hike or trek. Then what I do is Sunday and Saturday I'll be doing that. By the time it will be Monday, so it'll be easier to come back. So that's what I've been doing. If not, I used to travel during weekdays, because most of the times public transportations will be empty, hostels or Zostels will be empty. You get cheaper prices everywhere. Even the travel buses, everything gets cheaper during the weekdays. So if you're traveling, travel tip, travel during the weekdays because the prices will be low. And coming back to Zostels, many people ask me like, why do you book Zostel? Why not other hostels or other places? Reason number one, I travel different hostels and film them. So because of that, I stay in Zostel. Point number one. Why not other hostels? So far, I have tried few. I'm lucky enough to try few of the other brands. Zostel's dormitory usually priced will be around 500 to 700 rupees, which is expensive. When I say expensive, you're like, oh, it's only 500, it's only 700. It's not only 500, 700. It's about why I'm saying expensive is because, let me finish. Wait, I'll tell why it's expensive. Don't jump in the comments and don't tell me it's not expensive. So, if you're staying in a luxury hotel, I know it'll be around 2,000 to 5,000. Why? As a traveler, I don't prefer, most of travelers don't prefer luxury hotels, is because instead of spending 5,000 there, you can travel more places. That's the reason. So that's one thing. Second thing is, when I said why Zostel is expensive, is because there are hostels, there are dormitories where you can get as cheap as 150 rupees per night or 24 hours. Now don't say like, what, 150 rupees or 100 rupees per hostel? Yes, there are dormitories where you can get it for rupees 100 or 150 or cheap as 250 rupees. So I've been to one dormitory. This happened in Igatpur. When I was in Igatpur, I was not supposed to stay there because the train delayed and I couldn't get a next bus to go to the next destination. I had to stay at Igatpuri. So point number one, I do a research on next transportation. So I had to get a bus. So usually this railway station and bus station will be close by. So I had to figure out the distance and I had to figure out the place which is nearby for both of them. Most probably which is near to the bus station. Preferably walking distance. So what I do is I check out that and I Google stuff, I write down information, then maybe get a chai or see, usually when you get from the train you'll be hungry. So I get a chai, talk to locals. First thing is talk to locals. So when you go in a shop or when I say talk to locals, some locals will try to squeeze money out of you. Some locals will be bad. So it comes by experience most of the time. So simple tip is, when you're in a hotel, hotel owners will be nice to you. Most places will be nice. Search for a good hotel, like not luxury hotel, good hotel where the owner seems to be nice. Order a chai, and most probably if you're traveling on weekdays or low crowd time, owner might stop by and talk to you because you look like a traveler with the big rucksack and stuff. You look like a traveler. So what you do is you strike up a conversation. Strike up a conversation, talk about the place, what's around and stuff like that. Talk about how to get to the next destination, and people will be they will share the information. They will give you a lot of tips like what I'm supposed to do, what to visit nearby places, where the place to stay and stuff like that. So grab that information, store it right here. Once you're done with the tea, pay the bills and just go around, start seeing for the information. Igatpuri, just outside the railway station, there are some hotels which are expensive. A normal room cost around 1,500 per person. That's what they quoted me. I walked up a little further. I got a place for 800. I didn't stop there. In Google, I found a dormitory which was facing a riverside or something, which looked nice. So it was mentioned as 500 per room dormitory. So I called them and asked them like, what's the dormitory price? And they said it was 200 rupees. 200 rupees is actually a good deal. I was shocked. I was very much shocked, and I didn't believe the price because it looked clean, it looked really good, and why 200 rupees? It sounds fishy. So what I did was I I went to the place and I saw and was actually there, and I asked them the price and they told me the same price. Then I checked the rooms. It was good, so I checked in. So before check-in, I asked them, can I see the rooms? I got to see the rooms. It was a dormitory. It was good. Beds were clean. I said, okay, good deal. I went and booked. What I realized is when you're Googling something or when you're booking online, most of the times these are done by some travel booking websites, which they have a commission. So it was a difference of 300 rupees. If I had booked online, I would have lost 300 rupees. So I booked directly, I got 200 rupees. So if this is the next travel tip, if you're booking a normal hostels or most of small places, it's better to go directly and book rather than booking online on any travel websites, because they had their commissions. So this is how I got a good cheap place to stay for 200 close as 200 rupees. This was for a night, and the owner was nice. I spoke to them and they said you can visit a few places. I took a day bag. I'm going to talk about bags in a separate video, what kind of bags I have. So I took a day carry bag. It's a small bag. So I went around. I got to see few places there. I tried few of the street food at Igatpuri. That happened. It was good experience. So I spent a night there, and next day I was out from there. So this was my experience at Igatpuri. So this hostel was 200 rupees. So when you see a Zostel, it looks expensive. But what's difference between Zostel and this hostel was, this hostel I just got a bed, clean bathrooms and washrooms and stuff like that. Then an area to wash your clothes, common area, only that, normal things. But if you stay in Zostel, this 200 rupees also add a locker. Lockers are important when you're traveling to keep your things safe. This Zostel adds this culture of travel. They have this beautiful walls painting beautiful common areas, which this normal hostel didn't have. So this is normal hostel and this is Zostel. So Zostel had this facilities and normal hostel didn't have. So this will be a difference between a normal hostel and Zostel. Next is Zostels have indoor games where you can pick up and play. So normal hostel didn't have that. So Zostel had kitchen where you can cook. Some Zostel have. Where I've traveled, I noticed some Zostel don't have a kitchen. So this Zostel have that facilities, and this hostel didn't have it. Price 500-600 per room and per bed. Sorry, and this is 200 rupees. This is max is 8 beds for dormitory, and this add 15 beds I think in dormitory which I stayed. So that's a major difference between a Zostel and a normal hostel. So that's why I said people think Zostel is expensive, but when you see this, compare this thing, Zostel seems to be on a cheaper or more economic side because of the features or facilities. So if you are asking me, should I book a normal hostel or a Zostel? If you are just staying or crashing for a night, go for an hostel because you just want a bed to sleep and charge your stuff. So that's the main thing. So go for an hostel. But if you're gonna stay there for a day and experience, go in a Zostel, experience everything, stay in a Zostel. See, most of the hostels where I stayed there for 22 hours or 20 as their norms. Checkout is 12, check-in is 12, checkout is 10 a.m. something like that. So I've been using their facilities for entire day, from indoor games, books to read, and so on. So that's the thing about Zostel. If you're traveling, if you crash, remember this: crashing for a night, go for hostel. If you're staying for an entire day and visiting Zostel, staying there for an entire day, Zostel. Next question which I got was, how do I travel? How do I fund my travels? In a month, I had a target of traveling 2 destinations, or maybe 3 for max. So how much would I spend for one travel? It depends on how I travel. Sometimes it gets expensive, sometimes it will be on cheaper side. So funding, how I do it is because of savings and sponsors. So if you're a YouTuber or if you're a content creator, you get sponsors, so you can save a lot. So people, there are brands which are watching this video, and okay, there are brands which are watching this video. I know if you love to collab with jQuest or with us, you can email us or you can DM us. We can collab. So because of sponsors, I get to travel travel for a few places. Disclaimer: Zostel I've never sponsored so far. I got this DM a lot of times. People think that I stay in Zostel for free. No guys, till now none of the Zostel have sponsored me. I've not stayed in any Zostel for free. I've paid in full. I've also I paid for everything what I've taken, or what are services which I had. So Zostels were never free. And Zostel, if you're watching this, definitely we are open for a collab. How do I book tickets? I book tickets on one is if it's a train ticket, train agency, like the government has a website, irctc.co.in, so you can book tickets on that. Always book on that other than travel agencies, because I've seen the price difference. Here you get a legitimate prices. Next is buses. If it's a KSRTC or government buses, every state have their websites. Go to your websites for book tickets on there. When I talk about tuk-tuk, rickshaws or auto rig, all the 3 means the same thing. A travel tip for you guys: always don't book a auto rickshaw just outside a bus station or a railway station. So what happens is they're gonna charge you double or triple the price, or maybe they won't take you in the right places. There are some railway station, bus stations where they have token system. So if you find this token system, get a token. It's a prepaid auto, so you get a fixed price. Take that rather than going for a public, rickshaws outside or taxis. So if you want to hire taxis, a travel tip is just walk away from that bus station or a railway station as far as you can, then take a rickshaw, because it would actually make a lot of difference. This tip is actually tested and proven. I've tried this in my travel journey, so I know this price. And one more thing is, if you're in place like Pondicherry, what happened was, even you walk, it doesn't make a difference, because they know you're a tourist and they charge you extra. So book a auto rickshaw or a car or Ola or Uber. Those are 2 most popular apps, so you can use those. When you're booking, just compare the prices. If it's small difference between auto rickshaw and a taxi or a car, book a car because it's more comfortable. And there are some places where you can rent a 2-wheeler. Check the prices and what policies they have. Book a 2-wheeler instead, so you can go to hostels as well as roam in nearby places. So this all is about planning your itinerary. These are the tips. And coming back to the last question for today is, what do you get from traveling? Most of the parents asked about this. Okay, the question is, questions are right there, so I'm just reading out from them. Question is about what do you get from traveling? Most of the times parents ask this question: why do you travel and what do you get from traveling? So answer that to all the people who are asking why do you travel, what do you get from traveling, you got to hear this, because I've traveled a lot many places and this is from my experience. And if your friend or if your parents is asking what do you get from traveling, show them this video. Personally, I had read a lot about Indian culture, Indian history, and a lot of places. but unless I traveled to that place, I didn't realize how amazing the place was. One major thing what I learned about is, okay, Indian Railway is actually amazing. There are so many trains, so many tracks, so many stations. And before I started traveling, I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know what station it is, what train to take, which train goes from what station to where, and I didn't know difference between local trains and the long distance trains and stuff like that. But when I started traveling, I learned about the stations, which are the major stations, what's the difference between a junction, main junction in a railway station. Talking about trains, there's a train there. When I say talk about culture, before I traveled, I didn't know much about the cuisines of different parts of India. But what happened was, when I started traveling, when I visited that place, when I started tasting their food, especially street food, the authentic street food on the major streets, I got to taste their, cuisines, the richness of flavors they have, and you can definitely tell the difference between food. If you try a North Indian food and a South Indian food, you can definitely know the difference. It's different. The languages are different. The people attire, the dressing style is different. Now everyone are wearing shirts, but sometimes you can find their authentic, place, culture, dresses, or how they dress up. And best so far, why do you travel, is because when we travel, as a traveler, we do a lot of research. We learn about that place. We will fill the mind a lot of data, like knowledge database of lot of things. So when I travel, I usually take a local transportation. So I had to do research about places, place names, the routes the bus to take, which bus to take. So you get to learn a lot of things. Before I end this video, a few things if you're planning to travel after a few months, maybe. Stay hydrated. Main thing is stay hydrated. Always stay hydrated. Drink a lot of water. Eat right food. Eat good food. Try to use public transport rather than most of using private transportation. It will save cost, as well as you get to see a lot of things which like you would not get if you're booking private vehicle, and you get to explore a lot of things, because in the public vehicle you get to speak to a lot of people, converse with a lot of people. And if you're carrying a DSL like this, people will come to know, and they talk to you because they think you're from a media. It's very funny. This happens most of the time. So that's all for today. I know it's a long podcast. Thank you for listening or watching so far. It's getting dark right here. It's time to get back and edit. So thank you for watching this video or listening to podcast. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Also follow me on my social media. I'm gonna do a lot of podcasts. Podcasts usually be long. In future, I may trim certain parts of video, make a separate small videos for my Instagram or social media. Thank you for watching. Check out other series. I'm gonna place other series videos right here. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me, blah 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 blah, like all the social or social stuff. Thank you. Bye bye.